Adam Ronan here. DeSassy of the Squatches.
Hey, how's it going?
Jake the Sasquatch. So we're coming here with a video to show you some games.
Yeah.
What about these games? You go to a convention, you go to a store, and you buy a game, and you think, I'm so excited to take this home and play it.
Yeah, I like the Super Famicom games, specifically the RPGs, because they last forever and they're a shit ton of fun.
But what kinds of things could you run into that are problematic?
Well, there's a pretty solid chance that at least one of these games is fake.
Is there a reason why it's Super Famicom over regular US releases that could possibly be fake?
No, it's actually pretty fair both ways. It's more so Super Nintendo that could most likely be fake because those tend to be more expensive. Like, there's about a $200 difference between this version of Chrono Trigger and the English version.
Sure.
So there's a better chance that the English one could be fake. However, there is a pretty good chance that any of these games could be fake.
Okay, so we're gonna go over the notion of how to check for your games being fake, but we don't know anything about it. We don't know how to check. I don't know how to finish this video.
We know a guy.
He's got a guy.
We know a guy.
He can't be American though.
No, he's Canadian.
I feel so much better.
Hey everyone, over at Ronin24, Mr. Sujano here. I specialize in retro gaming, emulation, and video game tech. I do have a few fake games in my collection, so let's take a look at how to spot a fake Nintendo video game. The first thing to do is to look on the outside of the cartridge. Does it look a little off? Is something not quite right? Take for example this cartridge here. You can see there are plastic screws to hold the game in place. Official Nintendo games never used plastic screws. Always take a look at the label. Is there something missing on the label? Is something misspelled? Does something not quite look right? For example, this game was never officially released for the Super Nintendo. Some Game Boy reproduction cartridges just have the word game written on top. It's very plain to see that that is not an official Game Boy case. Sometimes things aren't so obvious though, and counterfeiters are getting a lot better at passing off fake games as real. So here's my copy of Street Fighter Alpha 2 for the SNES. If you take a quick peek here, you can see that everything looks okay. It's got the rating on there, it's got the Nintendo seal of quality, it shows country information, it's got the Super Nintendo logo, everything looks alright. However, if you compare this to an actual Street Fighter Alpha 2 game label, you can see there are a few differences. So you can see that, for example, the team logo right there is different on the actual cartridge versus the one I have. Also, the spacing between the team logo and the Nintendo seal of quality is slightly different. The Nintendo logo is slightly different. The artwork is more pronounced in mine. You can see the colors a little more clearly, especially over here at this faded SNES graphic here. However, if you don't have a real label to compare it to, it's actually very difficult to tell. So even if you tilt this, the label is shiny just like an official Nintendo label. The label is nicely cut, it fits properly. The label is slightly scuffed to make it look like a real Nintendo label. So yes, if something looks a little off, it may be fake. But on the other hand, if something looks too pristine, it may also be fake. Don't forget, these games have been around for a long time. They're not brand new. Unless you are buying a game complete inbox brand new, these games have been in and out of consoles, changed hands, been thrown around. There will be scuffs on the label. And you can clearly see on my Super Mario All-Stars game here, it is very scuffed up. This game was very well loved. Here are two Zelda Game Boy Advance games, Minish Cap and A Link to the Past. One of them is fake. The one above me is fake. So while the Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past label is misaligned, it is a real label. You can see the big difference here between the two. The Nintendo logo on the Minish Cap doesn't quite look like the real Nintendo logo. Again, the rating logos are considerably different, and the Nintendo seal of quality right here on the Minish Cap game is actually botched. It's very pixelated and not quite right. Here's the back of both games, the fake Minish Cap above me and the real Link to the Past on the right. It's very easy to tell which one's real and which one's fake in this regard, considering that A Link to the Past has a lot more wear and tear it's been scratched being pulled in and out of the system, where the Minish Cap game is virtually brand new. Now sometimes it is very difficult to tell whether or not the game is real or fake just by simply looking at it. So what I like to do, and what I encourage other people to do when they're purchasing a game, is to open it up and take a look inside. The easiest way to open up these games is to purchase the security bits that fit the cartridges. So the SNES has a special security bit, and so does the Game Boy Advance. You can find them easily on eBay or Amazon, and they run a couple bucks each. So here are the internals of the two Game Boy Advance games, the fake Minish Cap game on the top and the real Link to the Past game on the bottom. If we look at the Minish Cap game here on the top, the dead giveaway that this is a fake game is the glob top right here. Now, most Nintendo games do not have glob tops. There are exceptions. However, the glob top usually is a dead giveaway that it is a fake game. And the glob top kind of looks like a drop of black clear gel almost that is hardened. So it's sometimes in a round shape, sometimes in a square shape, but those are usually dead giveaways that the cartridge is fake. Some people will say the presence of a battery means the cartridge is fake, and I generally try not to focus on that too much because some cartridges do have battery backups used for saving. Another dead giveaway is this chip with the sticker on it that I cannot make out that writing. Nintendo chips don't normally have stickers like this on them at all. The board is a little more complicated. While this is branded Nintendo, it's not the correct branding. The correct branding you can see here in relation to the game. It's got a year, the copyright stamp, as well as Nintendo. One thing that I look for are holes where the game connects to the system. So if you look at the Link to the Past board here on the bottom, these are all solid. There are no holes in the connectors here. However, in the fake Minish Cap board, you can see the holes, and there are sets and rows of them. So you don't even really need to open the game cartridge to take a look at the pins and see whether or not there are holes in them. Usually, if you see holes, it is a dead giveaway that the cartridge is fake. And if you remember just a little while back where I pointed out that the label on the Street Fighter II Alpha game in my collection was fake, let's take a look at that on the inside. So on the inside, on the back, looks like an old board, and on the front, looks like an official Nintendo board. And you wouldn't know that by looking at the label. The label was a fake, but the game is real. Now if we take a look, there is no presence of a glob top at all on this. You can see there are no holes in the pins. And on top of that, the board is branded. So you can see 1996 Nintendo. On the right is Star Fox to compare, and that is also a real game. You can see copyright 1992 Nintendo. No presence of glob tops, the boards look old themselves, and the chips all appear to be labeled correctly, and they don't look like this. Hopefully those tips will help you out in spotting a fake game. Counterfeiters are getting very good, so it's always good to be extra diligent when making a purchase.
Thank you to Mr. Sujano for giving us that awesome dissertation on how to find out if games and cartridges are a fraud, so to speak. So real quick, if you have not yet, it's an excellent channel. He's a great friend of ours. And if you are a fan of the fight sticks, that is your go-to guy. He's doing excellent reviews. So take a moment, go sub to Sujano, because as you know, he's got a silky smooth voice that matches his silky smooth beard.
And silky smooth Canada.
And silky smooth French. Does he speak French? I don't
know, probably.
Yeah,
it's Canadian.
Canadian. Bacon. So we now have what I think we would consider the greatest game of all time.
The greatest game that ever touched the Super Nintendo.
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
It's made by THQ, who isn't a company anymore. They did real well. This one game.
So we're going to open this up based on now his techniques that he's provided to us, and we're going to see, is this a fake cartridge? Or is this legitimate version of Home Alone 2, Lost in New York?
I don't know. We paid a premium for it. It's probably fake. So based on everything we've looked at, we can firmly say that no one has faked this copy of Home Alone 2.
Lost in New York.
It's real. We got a real one here, folks.
So guys, now you know, if you are a collector of retro gaming, old cartridges and stuff like that, now you know how to pop these bad mama jamas open and see if you've got a fraud, or if the thing you bought from that greasy dude at that convention sold you a legitimate copy of probably not Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Couple things. We're out, but not until, we will not stop this video until you've clicked both of these Twitter links. You've also perhaps considered subbing to this channel if you're not already, and clicking the bell. I don't know if we're actually going to put overlays here, so we might just be pointing to nothing. But
we might be pointing to nothing. Who knows?
Who knows where the bell is, if they've got the video smalled or not, you don't know.
Yeah,
so there's a bell, click that so you get notified when we come out with new videos every week. And be sure you go to r24media.com to check out sweet, blissful articles of geeky shit. Gordy! Play us out.
Ba-da-ba-ba. Ma-na-na-na-na.
Good!